Good morning, everybody. Well, it's about 6:15 in the morning right now. Sun's just now kind of getting going here. You can start seeing the light. It's good enough you can walk outside at 10 to 6. I always enjoy this kind of time of year, but a little bit of an anomaly here that many folks don't ever know about, but here in eastern Kansas anyway, we don't really get much of a dew in the mornings. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I look at my boots or shoes, it's got a little bit of moisture on it, but we don't really get the benefit of a dew. And I remember where I lived at in Illinois, in Iowa, we'd get some pretty good heavy dews, but not really so much here in Kansas. It's an oddity, I guess, to have a heavy dew. You get light dews here. So anyway, I need to get some watermelon planted today. I think I want to do that towards this evening. That needs to happen. I don't want them going through the heat of the day, which is going to be about 81 in full sun. We'll transplant them, say, late afternoon. That way they can go into the evening and kind of adjust a little bit easier as they, try to avoid as much transplant shock as we can get. So, all right, and there's old white dog out here, and we'll get the high tunnels going, and want to get some asparagus picked. So join me. To have a good profitable asparagus spear, you need to allow it to get up to that at least 8-inch size, 8.5, 9, and then we'll trim it back to the 8 inches to have a nice uniform product. Believe it or not, people do enjoy having asparagus all at the same height when they go to buy it, so it looks normal to them, just like it does in the grocery stores. So you don't want to have spears that are sticking at different heights when you go to sell them. Not that people won't buy them, but it sells better with them constantly all at 8-inch lengths, and that's where it's at. That's where we start out at. Now once the asparagus has been harvested and you cut it to 8 inches, you need to store it in your refrigerator cooler with water on the bottom of the pan, and you also need to turn around and understand that it's still going to continue to grow. And if you lay asparagus sideways, this tip's going to want to go straight up and down. So that's why you store them in the rubber band straight up and down. The second thing you do is understand they're going to continue to gain weight. They're going to continue to grow a little bit taller. So we still trim ours at 8 inches, but the key is to get them sold quickly and all that. But for those that we picked on a Wednesday, we sell Saturday, they'll probably be 9 inches in height when we go to sell them. So, but that's just the way it is. Okay, Delia's out picking asparagus this evening. We went out to the field to plant, and it is really wet, but I'm going to try to get one of my trays planted. Let me grab that, use my cushion here. Yeah, I want to finish the one that we left off with. Now I'll tell you, I'm out here of an evening trying to transplant them. I realize guys that have 1,000, 10,000 watermelon plants, they got to just go in the morning and keep on it going and put some water on it and all of that. But what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and transplant them in the evening, kind of let them get settled there in so it isn't quite as hot. Well, it'll be cooling down, as a matter of fact. So that's what we're doing right now. Sweet corn's coming on, looking pretty good, looking good. Delia went ahead and you can see some of these are starting to die back. I kind of spot treated some of that cocklebur in there. Just constant, it's a constant game here on it. It's kind of monitor and spot treat and things like that. So it's a lot of weeds out here. Well, I know it's windy out here, but man, that is sure do want to get them in. Now that one just came up late, so I'll hold off planting it. Crimson Sweet, and then we'll have them all transplanted. There we go. It's still plenty wet under here. Let's take a progress report. So this is that finishes up Crimson Sweet out here. Take these up here with us, and we just need, it's going to dry out, but we need that area to dry up so we can finish doing that. You can see where all the corn stalks were floated down here due to the southerly winds from the storm, pushed all the stalks down here just like a creek or a river did. But no, everybody's transplanted as far as the very first one or two groups. We just need them to start putting out some new leaves. When they put out the new leaf, I'm going to push them a little bit on the fertilizer, but right now don't want to push them too much. I can get them a little transplant, or some root fertilizer, put that in there that doesn't have any nitrogen or anything. Go ahead and get that going. I just want to make sure everybody kind of got themselves established. I think it's just the weather. There's a couple here and there with their necks snapped, but not too bad all in all. So I'm glad they're still here. They'll get their new leaves. They'll start looking better. There is fertilizer here in the soil. They'll go ahead and we'll start seeing them green up and all of a sudden thicken up that stem and be a lot better. So, but it's just so wet right now. Delia and I really can't add on. We have 4 more flats that we're ready to transplant right now, and we'd be finishing several of these rows, but just nothing we can do about it at the time. So it's just too wet to get down there. And I think the roots would just be sitting in the water is what would be happening. The roots would just sit in the water. So anyway, looks like we got ourselves a ladybug there. Yep. Might have a few aphids there. If a ladybug's there, it gives me an idea that maybe we got a few aphids on these, so we'll check it out tomorrow better.
Hello everyone. So today we had another busy day. I finished planting my peppers on these rows here. I first had to put the weed fabric down. Over there I strung up some of the bigger tomato plants, and those are cherry tomatoes, and they're going to be trellised up and that kind of stuff. The cucumbers, cherry tomatoes, and more peppers on the other side.
Okay, well, we went ahead and got the asparagus picked. We had a pretty good day yesterday picking. You never know, you know, and today's picking was light in the morning, but because we're getting so warm in the day that it actually turned right around, and it got pretty good during we had a great harvest in the evening. In here just checking a couple of these rows. Want to make sure we got enough water. At least that little one is green. Want to make sure that these tomatoes are finally starting to take off. That guy's green. Like I said, we've been kind of struggling here for some reason, and part of it's damping off. And but these guys are looking pretty sporty, so I'm happy about that. That's one of the concerns, and want to make, you know, you don't want to get to a point where you overwater, but you don't want water to be the cause of you not getting enough, right? I mean, that guy's getting green, so some of these are taking off. They're going to be behind, but as long as we have a viable plant in each spot, we're going to be okay. These guys over here are looking so much better. They're straightening up. You know, like, good gosh, we about put on another one here. Look at all the suckers coming out of these. Now these are the Maxifort grafted ones, but look at all the suckers. They are conquer and divide, conquer and divide, conquer and divide. So they're looking pretty good. BHN 589s are over here. Taking a good look here at some of these guys. Not grafted. Looking good. Looking very good. I think it could, you know, I'm going to have to consider getting some string and going up a little higher on these. They're a little spindlier. That's one thing I can see. But they're very, very viable. Now you see this? The problem we're going to get into with them all not being exact is you're going to have to keep your eyes peeled to make sure there that you get that you're constantly getting the strings brought back around while the plants are young. Otherwise, just like this right here, let's go and get that sucker on the inside. And they're flexible this time of year, but I do see later on in the year they're not so flexible. So our cabbage, or I'm sorry, our lettuces. Now that guy, that tomato is not looking very good. I'll talk to Delia, but I'll bet we end up, and that guy's not very good. These are not grafted, but they're just not very good. That's an iceberg lettuce. Got a romaine, an iceberg. We're trying these icebergs out. I like iceberg. I know a lot of folks like the red, you know, you like the fancier lettuces and stuff, but deep down, I love the crunch of an iceberg lettuce, and that's what we're doing right there. They're looking pretty sporty, and we have lettuces over there on several rows. So the only row that looks questionable on tomatoes right now is row 7. I'll let Delia know. I think that we probably, while we have them, we ought to replace that guy. And doggone it, look at them Maxiforts there. There's 2 of them. 2 of them, I'm afraid, that are just not gonna cut it. Those two Maxifort crosses, they are not cutting it. I'm sorry about it, but it's the truth. They're not doing it. This guy's barely hanging. You know, they look better at different times, but yeah. All right. Well, it's decisions, things you got to decide on the farm. I'm going to head on out and I'm going to start weeding in the onions. Go ahead and get that done. So let me go ahead and do that. I talked with my sister this morning about we are not going to have a lot of strawberries. We're not going to even have big strawberries. We're going to have some. I mean, we have 600, 700 plants in there. But we're not going to have a daily supply. It's not like I have it. However, I think we might get a couple of names at the farmers markets by those who might get a list established. We have 2 farmers markets right now per week, so we're definitely considering, you know, freshly picked strawberries is the very best. The question I have is, how do you store the strawberries if you have a storage scenario? If you guys have any advice on that, I'm interested in hearing. What's your game plan on harvesting strawberries today and sell them tomorrow or in 2 days? I'd love to hear your comments. Let me get in here. I don't have a lot of weeds in here, but I do need to make sure that they're picked. For the most part, everybody's looking pretty sporty. I just don't want any of the weeds in here staying. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Yep, looking pretty good. Been trying to stay up on this. Again, Delia and I are on a pretty good mission this year to reduce the weed seed population. It's been a real, like this particular weed right there, those have been real issues to Delia and I. And we are very driven to do what we can do to reduce it. And maybe in the future, you know, down the road, we won't have to do as much plasticulture. That's what would be nice, you know, but we're kind of married to it with all the broadleaf weeds that are here. I'm gonna keep going, but that's what I'm doing today, is just coming down here, getting rid of these young seedlings that are popping up through the holes. You give them a little bit of daylight and they're there. I missed him the last time I come through. That's a big weed. All right, gardeners. Well, I think our day's winding down. Did a lot of mowing. Got all the asparagus picked. Delia here has really done well getting everything going. We think out in the field we were dealing with a little bit of aphid issue. And but here's a bed that Delia is working on, or 2 beds. Delia had added a 3rd row here. It looks very, very nice. Some green onions, lettuce over here. We got radishes. We have beets. I know she planted beets and turnips in this row. looking a lot nicer in the middle here. And I don't know if she's done anything with this particular row, but she has it all hoed up. There's a white dog there. The high tunnel, it's growing. Everybody says it's time to keep on a growing here, so haven't done much in there, haven't paid much attention other than, you know, try to regulate the temperature a little bit. But going out here into the field, as we investigated some of our cantaloupe and watermelon, we really think we have some aphids, and we didn't catch it. It's a possibility the aphids and the affected our summer squash and zucchini. We don't know. We sprayed. You know, once we kind of realized we were dealing with something when we saw it in the cantaloupe and watermelon, but it's too late for the ones out in the field. We did do the potatoes and the broccoli and all that. So ideally, going into the fall, you want to have 4 crowns. 4 crowns. And going into fall on each plant. And then you turn right around and you thin anything else above 4. Well, and the other side of it is the maturity of ours. Yeah, we put them in the fall. And some of these strawberries are pretty nice looking, but we don't have enough of them. So we're going to be struggling here. However, we are still producing some strawberries. And we'll go in through there tomorrow and we'll pick, we'll pick a few. We'll be lucky to get a pint tomorrow, but, you know, and let the journey begin, right? The Schneiders are going to have strawberries, and that's the first time for me. We look at some of these, you know, there's a couple more, and there's a couple crowns there, and there's 2 crowns there, small as they may be, but they're going, and we'll just keep on watering and fertilizing, and we'll continue to watch these plants grow throughout the summer. That would be ideal right there. You know, I think that one has 3 crowns. We need 1 more on that. But that's, you know, we're learning and going. Certainly the corn is growing nice. Everything's just growing nice. And we had a very good day of work. I'm going to leave it there at that. Hey, if you guys would, do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe. Come grow with us.